Hello everyone and welcome to another Callisto Protocol video. For this one, we are going to be discussing all the possible story ideas for the game's DLC when it releases next summer in 2023. So just a heads up, we will delve into heavy spoilers for the game's story, so you have been warned as we go into this video. Also, comment down below if you agree with my potential ideas or if you have a different look on it and what you think it could focus on, so let me know. Now firstly, to get into it, I'd like to say after looking through the story and the world behind how everything came to be in this game, I think it might be safe to say that if we were to get a story for a DLC around this game, it might not come from a prequel. As it is, we have already gotten the Helix Station podcast, which is a prequel in itself told through an audio format. And yes, ultimately, while it would be really cool to see how the whole outbreak started, I don't know how that could make for a compelling gameplay narrative. We know that the colony of Arcus, while they were digging into the moon's surface, came across that worm-like alien and shot it and killed it on sight. But some of the larvae inside of that worm latched onto the miners and turned them into the biophages we know. This would then require us to follow a character who is finding his or her way out to escape that outbreak. That is ultimately a reason why I don't think it'll be in that time range, is because of the fact that I have a feeling most players will still want to follow the main characters that we follow throughout the main game, that being Jacob, Danny, Waller, and also Warden Cole, who subsequently were the only ones who survived to the end of the game. And this now segues and leads us into where I think the real potential is for the theorizing where the story is going to go for the DLC. This would be for following a story with any of our main characters after the end of the game, when Jacob defeats Leon Ferris as the boss fight and has to escape with Danny in the escape pods. Unfortunately, there was only one left, and Jacob sacrifices himself to put Danny in the pod and escape with all the information and data and evidence that she needs to show and prove what happened on Europa and Callisto. As we also see, after being swarmed by a group of biophages, we see that Jacob is still alive and kicking, but barely, and he gets a message from Dr. Mahler saying that she could help him out, which is then subsequently interrupted by a jump scare from Ferris, who is somehow still alive? ? Of course, we don't actually know what happened because that's how the game cuts away and ends. Now, of course, this ending definitely puts a lot into question with what happens to Jacob. Where does Danny go from here now that she has escaped from Callisto with all the evidence? Where did Warden Cole go, potentially? How is Leon Ferris alive after his transformation by turning into a boss-level biophage? To be clear, I'm not saying that he is in fact still alive, because for all we know, that could have just been a hallucination that Jacob was having at the end of the game. But this does ultimately suggest that these are the potential areas that the DLC story could go in. I think the first potential idea in mind that I have is following Jacob, as he is now probably the only one left on the moon who is in human form besides Mahler, and has to find another way to escape off of it with the help from the doctor. That could not only give us some more action to have with gameplay, but also really further the story as we learn from Mahler herself and how she got involved in everything in the first place and where it could ultimately end up going in the future. The second potential idea is following Danny. Of course, this could be a little weird because, of course, there has to be a gameplay element involved with the story DLC, so who exactly would she be fighting depending on where she goes now that she's off Callisto? And this is kind of where I think if it were to follow her, this could also tie the character of Warden Cole into it. I think the story behind her, if it were to happen, would be that she goes to another place where Warden Cole sets off another outbreak. This place being somewhere that Danny knows that she can get the evidence to in proper fashion, and Warden Cole knows where she's going. With that being said, he sets off another outbreak in that area, doesn't matter where it is, a new moon or a human colony somewhere in space. Because think about it for a second, she still has her core implanted in her, so maybe Cole can find a way to track her, and that will help him know where to set off this new outbreak. Listen, if this story hasn't been written already, I feel like if anyone from Striking Distance Studios is watching this video, take my story and use it. And then ultimately this could also help tie the Jacob and Mahler story in with this one as well eventually down the line. But of course I don't want to get too ahead of myself, obviously, because for all we know there could be a second game that comes out in the future and they want to save some story for that one as well. These are all just potential ideas and theories that I'm coming up with and to see where it goes. The other part about this that's missing, that is ultimately the final part of this video I want to touch on, is who the alien, or I should say quote-unquote alien species is that Cole has a direct tie to that apparently dates back centuries. This secret society goes by the name of Callipolis, and from the looks of it, the three individuals he's having a conversation with as you enter into his office are either masked up on the face or actual legit alien beings that you can't really tell who they are. This society can ultimately play a big factor in it, and I also don't think there's any chance that this DLC story takes place in the time period where we find out their origins. I just don't think that that would be the way to go with it. But they could definitely play a part in showcasing what happens for the future. So this right here I think are all the theories that we can gather, at least from my perspective, and could potentially be where the story goes in the summer for the DLC when it drops. I now want to hear all your thoughts on this and where you think you might have a theory on where the story goes. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like down below and subscribe to my channel if you are new. And again, comment down below your thoughts and theories for what it could be and if you agree with mine. I hope everyone here has a great rest of their day and a fantastic weekend ahead. This is Orion, and I'm signing out.